Hello, I'm Juan Davies, Chief Creative Officer at KCET and PBS SoCal, and I'm joined by the newsroom of KPCC and LAist on a daily reporter roundup. How is everyone today?
Well, thank you.
Jackie, you've been talking to elderly care workers. What are you finding?
Yeah, I talked to two occupational therapists, and they're really conflicted. They both treat elderly patients. One of them goes from house to house, another goes to a nursing home. Both therapists are afraid that they may transmit the coronavirus to their patients without knowing it. Neither of them can get personal protective equipment like masks or gowns. Those are being reserved for hospital staff. One of those therapists decided to just stop working altogether. The other therapist says she'll keep working because she's afraid her patients won't be well enough to fight off the virus without her care. So the lack of preventative measures for health workers in this situation is really getting more traction in Washington, D.C., mainly because of COVID-19 outbreaks in nursing homes. So we may see some regulatory change soon.
We have a whole team of health reporters in the newsroom looking at the pandemic from many different angles. Mariana's been looking at kids and masks.
So the CDC recommends that kids under 2 actually don't wear any kind of facial covering because it can be a suffocation hazard, and really young children aren't able to say, hey, like I'm having trouble breathing right now. I also talked to some California pediatricians who had a couple of other tips. You should definitely wash your hands before putting on a mask and then avoid touching it once it's on. Kids touch pretty much everything, so that can be a challenge to its effectiveness as well. And then if the mask becomes wet with drool, or what in my family we call mocos or boogers, that can also make the mask more likely to spread germs rather than keep them contained. They said to keep kids safe, focus on hand washing and then cleaning surfaces in the house that they are most likely to be touching.
We're also, again, following the way coronavirus is reshaping our economy, what support is out there, what the government is doing. Aaron has been looking at a situation for renters.
Yeah, housing has emerged as a really critical issue during the pandemic. It's certainly been front and center for the LA City Council. Last time they met, they took action on evictions. They've also drawn criticism for not doing enough. Today, City Council President Nury Martinez reintroduced a program from last year to help tenants facing big rent hikes stay in their units. The hope is, since this was a previously existing program, they can fast track it. In a release, Martinez said that low-income Angelenos have been hurt the most financially by this virus. There was also other action in City Council today on housing, rental housing specifically. Council members Mike Bonin and David Ryu introduced a motion to freeze rents across the city of Los Angeles.
With coronavirus, we've heard so many examples of neighbors stepping up to help neighbors, people doing acts of kindness maybe they weren't doing before. But there's also an ugly side to this. And Josie's been looking at incidents of racism against Asian Americans.
Yes, you may have heard that there was a case in the Valley where a boy had to go to the hospital after he was beat up at school over coronavirus. But there are many incidents that don't make headlines. And there's this one group in LA that's called the Asian Pacific Policy and Planning Council, and they're helping to collect these stories. So far, they've gotten about 1,100 submissions, and about a third are from California. One reported incident was at a park in La Brea where a man flung a cup of coffee at an Asian American resident whom he called a chink. I also read about a family of 4 that was walking at LAX when a driver cut them off and started blaming them for the virus. So the hope is, by collecting these stories, political leaders and the general public actually will call out racist incidents, which have shown really no sign of letting up.
This goes all the way up to, the statements that President Trump did, I think, a week ago. Has there been any retraction from the White House in regards to this?
No, I believe what the president has done instead is he's not using Chinese virus anymore. Well, actually, I think he said something about how Asian Americans are trying to help the Americans, which was interesting because he framed it as, the Asian Americans are trying to help us, the Americans, which was, I thought, very telling.
It's very sad that immigrants always get the blame when a situation like this happens. Thanks to the newsroom at KPCC and LAist, and thanks to all of you at home. Be safe, take care of your family, and we'll see you tomorrow.